All right, so we're back again, and the crazy thing, I was thinking about this message that Kevin Feige left. Again, tying with all the Secret Wars rumors. So it's supposed to be like a reboot, but it's not. He's saying it's a reset. So my biggest thing is, I'm more worried about the continuity. So when we're rebuilding all this, like, how's it gonna work when you get like new characters, right? So let's say we get a new Tony Stark. How does that work with like someone that interacted with him before? Is it just gonna be from a different universe? Is it gonna be? I just don't know. How does it fit in? And there's rumors that, oh, we are all going to be under one and the same umbrella. Everyone's in the same universe. But then if that works, then what are you going to do? Are the X-Men been there are going to be blended with us? Because they have to get rid of the Fox universe. And then when it comes to like the Fantastic Four universe, they got to come over to us. If not, they're not going to be in the MCU movies. So it's like, how are we going to do this? Is it like easier just to do a big reboot and redo everybody and just end this franchise with a big story? Because to be honest, I don't think people are going to accept a new Tony Stark. I've talked about this in an old video. We're always going to see him as Robert Downey Jr. And when we get a new one, no one's going to accept him. It's going to be rough. So putting him next to someone else like Tom Holland or something like that, it's just going to feel weird. It's going to feel off a little bit. And then we got, Steve Rogers. Again, he's had his story end already. Now we're bringing him back and it doesn't make any sense. I get it. They kind of had a rough time with the whole Kang incident, and we need to hurry up right now because supposedly all our movies aren't doing good. I think they're fine. They're just not hitting in-game numbers, and people don't expect that, or they don't expect that, but the people do. They want something big and bad, and it's like, you got to build up to that. So with Kang, we were getting it with Loki and all that, but unfortunately, that's not happening. So they're pivoting really fast to Doctor Doom, and it's like, we'll bring Robert Downey Jr. back as Doctor Doom, and that'll make it better. And then we'll get Chris Evans, and Chris Evans made it pretty clear he didn't want to come back a while ago. He was done. This was his story, and it ended with a bow on top of everything. I wasn't happy with a lot of things in the Endgame, how they ended their stories. I don't want to see Iron Man die. I don't want to see Captain America look selfish and staying back in time. Again, I get it. He's not selfish because he got to do something for himself finally. But at the same time, I just think you're going to screw it up for everybody. And then now, lo and behold, Doomsday comes up and you're screwed up for everybody. So now we're going to have to recast people. So we do Steve Rogers. Does a new Steve Rogers like butt heads with a new Iron Man? Like, is he from a different universe? Is he very? We're supposed to stop with the multiverses. This was the whole thing. I remember reading that we're supposed to. It's a reset. We're supposed to get everything back on the same plane. But how do you do it in the MCU universe? How does this work? How do we keep it going? It seems like you almost can't go in. And he makes a thing where he says they're searching for a new James Bond, a new Superman. It's awesome. That will always be the case. So if you want to keep telling these stories, it seems like you wouldn't bring Captain America back. We keep the MCU going, but there's no Captain America. And what happens? We bring Iron Man back. Well, we should keep the same story going on. If we're just resetting and they're recasting like a reset, in this case, he's saying that just like James Bond and stuff, which I get when you do that, but James Bond doesn't really have so much continuity. When Batman gets recast, it's usually in a whole different story. It's in a whole different world. The Batman has nothing to do with Batman 89. Same with Dark Knight, same with Batman vs Superman. They all have their own story. They don't have to worry about running this whole long story. Same with James Bond. They don't have a long story. It's him being James Bond, but you can watch one that's number 10 and one that's number 2 and you won't miss a beat. I don't know. Then what does it mean for Sam Wilson? He's supposed to stay around, right? Does he want to stop acting? But if we get a new Captain America, they're going to get a new Steve Rogers, they said. Does he stop being Cap? Do we have 2 Caps? It's like, oh man, it's giving me a headache just thinking about it. The Fantastic Four, they're so new. Do we keep them around? It seems like you'd want to keep them around, but how do you keep them around when they're just meeting our group now? Maybe they're the easiest out of everybody. I don't know. Maybe they're the easiest. And like having mutants there, I can understand them coming in. That makes a little bit of sense. And we never had them before. Now they're in our world. So that makes sense. It's going to make interesting stories where people are going to be prejudiced probably against them. And they could do the whole X-Men vibe, what they want to do. But if they're going to get rid of the Fox universe, what mutants are we going to have left? Is Sadie Sink going to be Jean Grey like everyone thinks? But she's already part of the main timeline. So where are the other mutants from? Is she out of place from a different timeline? And if there is these timelines, where are they at? Where are these other mutants going to come from? Where are the Steve Rogers going to come from? Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's just... I mean, I even talked about it before, like Scott Lang's death. was a way to get rid of Ant-Man. Like, I get it. You kill him, he does it for a sacrifice, whatever. You create the champions. He did his part. If we ever get a new Ant-Man, it'll be just a different person playing Ant-Man. But you can't do it with the other people. Same with Iron Man. You'd have to get Ironheart taken over or whatever, but no more Tony Stark. If you're keeping the same MCU, you wouldn't have Tony Stark again. It just, to me, it seems like that's the biggest problem with Secret Wars. Isn't so much even the recasting, even though that is an issue. It seems more like it's the continuity. If it's not a reboot, he said, it's a reset. How do you reset these characters in with these other characters? It just makes no sense to me. I don't understand in a perfect world how this all works. And again, I made a video about that before, about how are we going to shake things up like this. And then I was thinking about it more when the Secret Wars leak came out, and I'll talk about that another time. But how the way they want to end it, it doesn't seem like it would work at all from the rumored leak. Which again, is supposed to have credibility. I don't believe anything yet. I do believe Scott Lang could die, because I do think they could write off people easy like that. But do we get another Scott Lang again? What is the plan? I know we're not ever going to know until it happens, but I feel like no matter what, like, Endgame kind of just could have ended the whole series and they rebooted everything. But instead, they have Tom Holland. I think he's doing a whole nother trilogy. Fantastic Four just got introduced. Shang-Chi is going to be in Doomsday, and he had his own movie. So is he going to get a future movie? Blade has been in the works forever. It's just one of those things. It's like, they could have ended it all and just started a new franchise. If Feige could have left, and they could have did other things, because it's going to be hard to have the old characters replaced standing next to new character, or the same old characters that are kind of new. It just isn't going to feel right. And I think people aren't going to take to it well. No matter what, people are not going to take well having no more Robert Downey Jr., no more Chris Evans. People aren't going to like that regardless. I think that's going to be a big problem in all of it, to be honest with you. Getting a whole new cast around with mixed with other casts, since it's a reset, we're not going to get everything changed. But how do you do that? How do you do it with Secret Wars? How does, and the biggest thing I think about out of all this, really, is Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like, it's really sticking to me with that. I'll just be a discussion for another day. But, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, subscribe, share, whatever. I don't know. You think it's going to be easy to do a reboot, reset, whatever you want to call it, and get new Iron Man, new Captain America? But we have Sam, and then we have Ironheart, and for following the stories, these comics just keep going. But somehow we just get a relaunch of the comic, and Captain America comes out again. I was going to say Robin. Robin comes back a million times. Iron Man comes back again. Whoever dies, it's just, they redo it, or somehow they come back because they need to bring them back for sales. It's just not going to work that way. Not with actors. They age. So, I don't know. Again, like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you guys think, because I don't know what is going on at all.